Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my overview and thoughts on the patch 3.35 patch notes of Final Fantasy XIV. Now, according to the top right here, we have a number of additions and refinements to the realm, including the Deep Dungeon, Palace of the Dead, and the start of Feast Season 2, as well as some other minor things. Now, I have not read through these patch notes yet, so any information I get will be a brand new surprise to me. Let's get right to it. What do you say? Now remember, this update goes live at 2 a.m. Pacific unless they have early completion on July 19th. So, gonna be interesting seeing what we have here. So, Palace of the Dead. The house that Death built, level 17 in New Gridania at Nojiro, Marujiro. So, only thing you need to get into that is you need to have what seems to be beaten Copperbell normal mode. So that's the only prerequisite for that one. Nightmare's End is also a level 50 quest I noticed that you can get from Balan, and you must complete the quest Corpse Groom and have cleared floor 50 of Palace of the Dead. Seems to be a story-related thing then. So Corpse Groom, if I'm not mistaken, is the quest for Tantara hard mode. So some of this story will only be accessible if you clear the 50th floor of Palace of the Dead and you beat Tantara hard mode. So it's an important thing to remember if you haven't done that already. So the NPC Mender of Sticks has been added to Barlez and the Churning Mists. Okay, that's useful. New sleeping poses. I remember them mentioning this in a post not too long ago. Oh, lollifells. Anyway, following job... Oh, so they made adjustments to PvP classes and jobs, it seems, right here. So, Thrill of War duration has been reduced from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. So it looks like we have some warrior nerfs here. Duration has been reduced for 20 seconds for Enhanced Thrill of War 3. And the HP, so they're just nerfing Thrill of War pretty much across the board for Marauders and Warriors. HP restoration that you get back from it, the duration of it by default, and nerfing all of the enhanced versions of it. So that's pretty crazy, but I guess that was something they deemed that was so strong. I haven't feasted in so long personally, I couldn't tell you. But this is for PvP across all things. I have to feel that the Feast is the #1 influencer here. For Pugilist, Lancer, Rogue, Monk, Dragoon, and Ninja, Weapon Throw can now only be used... Oh, they're removing it from melee DPS. Interesting. So now melee DPS in PvP can no longer use weapon throw. It's only usable by tank jobs. That's an interesting thing. I guess that might be another reason why they kind of had to pull some power out of Warrior, but man, I love weapon throw as a ninja. Ugh, I wonder if we're getting anything to compensate for it. Lantern Dragoon Impulse Rush no longer has directional requirements, but despite that, well, in trade-off for the directional requirements, the critical hit rate increase that it gives has been nerfed across the board for its base amount and for how much you get from Enhanced Impulse Rush 3. Now, Enliven, which is the ability that gives you TP back, this weapon skill no longer restores TP and instead removes directional requirements from all other weapon skills. That is insane, if you ask me. However, I do notice that it still works for Paladin, Warrior, Dark Knight, Machinist, like jobs that don't even have positional can now only be used by Pugilist, Lancer, Rogue, Monk, Dragoon, and Ninja. Okay, so Enliven, okay, well that's really strong then. That's very strong actually. You have to think about that, especially even as a ninja. The ability now to burst someone out properly is pretty much locked behind Enliven instead of being locked behind stunning them and then getting to the correct side. That is something strategically that I can agree with, and it is a decent change. I feel like, again, it benefits the other jobs a little bit more than it benefits Ninja, but I don't know, actually, the ability to use... the thing is, it's only weapon skills, which means it doesn't affect trick attack, which is honestly my biggest concern as a ninja. So, while it is nice to be able to do a duality Aeolian Edge under the effect of Enliven from any side, the trick attack is still very, very, well, for lack of a better word, tricky. But I'm interested to see how it works. Its duration is 15 seconds under Enliven 2, base duration is 10 seconds, and its recast time is only 2.5 minutes, and on top of that, with Enhanced Enliven, you can reduce it down to 2 minutes. So that's going to be interesting to see how that affects the Feast in Season 2. But it's a neat little thing to change Enliven. I guess maybe they determined that melee's just sprinting and then enlivening back 50% of the TP. They figured it might be better for this, or it might be another sort of balance change, because I miss doing that. I never minded if I had Invigorate or if I had Enliven sprinting to keep up with somebody and then using these skills, because that was pretty much what their best use was. Curious to see how it ends up working out, though. The potency of the Adrenaline Rush action Raw Destruction has been decreased, so Melee LB not as strong anymore, or Melee Adrenaline Rush not as strong anymore. Following adjustments have been made to the Feast. So Season 2 of the Feast will actually begin tomorrow. I told you that they were going to start it the day of the patch. Everyone's like, no, there's going to be a little rest period. I told you guys, Season 2 of the Feast, tomorrow. Season 2 of the Feast will start with 3.35 and ends in 3.45. When the season has ended, top combatants for solo. Okay, this is all the same stuff. Anyway, matching algorithms have been adjusted to ensure players are matched with other players of the same or adjacent tier. The Feast will now prioritize matching those who fall between no rank and silver with, now prioritize and tier with other players that are in these 3 tiers. Feast will now prioritize matching those who fall between gold and diamond tier. So gold, platinum, diamond. The longer your wait, the higher chances of you being matched to a player in an adjacent tier as opposed to a tier in yours. So we're going to see how that affects the queue times, because when people aren't feasting, currently my biggest issues that I'm seeing here, the degree to which PvP ratings may decrease at the conclusion of a rated match has been adjusted. Okay. My major concern here is that there's still no mention of any sort of incentive to, once you're at the top, to keep playing. Whether that's an incentive that, hey, if you don't play 20 matches in a week, you don't have to keep your rating. You have to play matches. You have to at least present the opportunity to either gain or lose rating while playing, or we're just going to take some away. Because what we had this season was that people who got to the top 10 just stopped playing altogether, and then it was pretty difficult for people who were in the top 100 who weren't really close to the top 10 to actually catch up and do the Feast in a meaningful way to try and climb to the top of the ladder. There's not enough incentive to get all the people out there and participating, and I don't see anything here that's disappointing. I hope it's something that they manage to patch in very, very quickly. That being said, I don't expect it to happen. So that's disappointing. I feel like that's a very important thing of what went wrong in Feast Season 1, and hopefully we get a question about that at the next live letter, whenever that may be. They also made some adjustments to the Fields of Glory. They reduced the amount of points you need to win. Now, this we actually saw a post on, and I believe that Sly and I touched on it in State of the Realm. Magic resistance for activated Icebound Tomeless has been increased. That is a 50% increase according to the post on the forums, which is pretty crazy. You have to think about it. So basically, if you are a Black Mage or a Summoner, or even a healer trying to deal damage to the Tomeless, you will do 50% less damage, approximately. And I don't know, like, what about Machinist and Bard? Like, is it the fact that it's magic damage that's the big problem? Or is it the fact that they are safely at range and that's the problem? If anything, now I'm more scared as a melee, because you know what Black Mages and Summoners are going to be doing, if you don't already do it? They're just going to be hanging around the nodes, and they're just going to be like, alright, so that Dragoon that's attacking the Tomelith, and Fire 4 dead. Okay, now that's what they're going to be doing. So now as a melee DPS, I'm scared out of my mind to go near that if it's got Black Mages and Summoners. Also, battlefield maps have been changed. Good, they're pointing out the elevation, so it's clear to tell how you get up to certain areas. Good, good, good. I'm happy to see that. The drop rates for the White Lantern Whistle, Rose Lantern Whistle, and Round Lantern Whistle have been increased. Oh, so that's Bismarck, Ravana. Oh, I just realized what I'm reading right now. You can now get the Thornton, Ravana, and Bismarck mounts with 99 kills. We've been asking for this for a pretty long time. I didn't actually expect them to do it. Think about how many Reddit posts or official forum posts there have been being like, man, I wish they could just make it so you could do 99 runs and get a mount. Something crazy so I can't achieve it right away in a day. We got it. We got it. There you go. It doesn't work for a Sephiroth or, what's the other one? We didn't get, oh, Sephiroth or Nidhogg. But I'm sure that they'll change that in the future, and eventually Sephiroth and Nidhogg will be... Well, I would start saving up now then, in all honesty. Just because they're not available this patch doesn't mean you can't do 99 Nidhoggs, and hope that they eventually patch in that ability, because in all honesty, this is really good. This makes me want to set up a few runs, just to do this, like a few runs a day, and just work on it day in, day out. So Deep Dungeon, for those of you who don't know what Deep Dungeon is, it's going to be explained right here. It's going to be what starts as a 50-floor dungeon, where every time you go in, your level is reset to 1, and you level up inside fairly frequently, but it has its own separate leveling system that doesn't affect the outside world very much. A portion of the EXP you gain inside of Deep Dungeon will be brought outside the dungeon with you, unless it says specifically in here what it is, what the percentage is, then I won't know it. And on top of that, your gear doesn't do anything in there, your weapons don't do anything in there. It has its own separate progression system where you have to open chests to find weapon upgrades and armor upgrades. And on top of that, there's no roll restriction, and it can be used to level. And you can do it as early as level 17, as we said earlier. So it's a viable leveling method. It shouldn't have many issues in the form of Q times, because DPS, you could go in with 4 DPS reasonably, and as long as you use the items correctly, you should still be able to win. And on top of that, eventually there's going to be solo ranked leaderboards to see how far you can climb, probably within a certain time frame, and just to see how far you can do it solo. So there's going to be quite a few things here, but we're starting with just the first 50 floors and the very basic functionality. Players who choose to leave and return later can continue playing where they last saved. Now keep in mind that a save point requires you to have all the same party members from your save point. So if you want to progress from floor 1 to 50 with a group of 4 people, you better make sure you're ready to do it with that specific group of 4. Because if you go in with that group of 4 and get to floor 40, and then you replace someone with another person, you got to start from floor 1 again. You need all 4 of the same people in order to load a save file. So, up to 4 players, that's the party size. There's no item level sync, no item level requirement, because as we said, gear from the outside world doesn't matter. You just need to have that prerequisite level 17 quest completed. You can do this as early as level 17, even as a new character. Although there is going to be some restrictions because you can't unlock job skills and fancy stuff like that. I've made a bunch of videos about Deep Dungeon. If you have more questions, definitely check out those videos, but we're going to cover any of the remaining questions right here. So, rules. Character growth. Players start at level 1 regardless of their current class or job level. By defeating monsters that appear in the dungeon, players will be able to gain experience and level their characters up to 60. The levels gained in progression of the dungeon, however, will not be the same as what the players receive upon clearing. So, players currently on their free trial or have not yet purchased Final Fantasy XIV will also be able to level their characters to 60 inside Palace of the Dead. Very clear distinction there. If you are on your free trial, you can do Deep Dungeon, but you cannot obviously get past any of the requirements outside of Palace of the Dead. Inside Palace of the Dead, yeah, you can get to level 60, you can progress it. It's a new thing for you to do on the free trial. But when you leave, you're not going to be able to get above the free trial's level cap of 35. So just keep that in mind. That's why they use this level 35 example right here on the Summoner. So as you can see in the screenshot, this is the weapon. It's basically an ether pool weapon, and then as you open the chest, you can find upgrades to make it plus 9, 10, 11, etc. And then the armor, same deal. You can also get unique items that have effects. They can transform you into a succubus or a manticore. They can weaken enemies nearby. They can strengthen you. You can raise allies, heal yourselves, things like that. And that has its own item space as well, so I'm assuming we don't need to worry about our actual inventory space for this one. All enemies players encounter in Palace of the Dead will give a fixed amount of experience regardless of the number of members in your party or the difference in level between you and the enemy. Rested experience and experience bonuses will also be ignored. Attribute points will not be accounted for in Palace of the Dead. There will be no adjustments to or restrictions to any actions, additional actions, or stats. However, players must first reach the required level in the dungeon to have access to them. Players will even have the opportunity to gain actions and statuses above their current level regardless of whether or not they complete the necessary class or job quests. Okay, so please note that any players who have entered Deep Dungeon with a class will be restricted from using jobs. So that's a very important detail, something that actually contradicts something I said earlier. We were under the impression you weren't going to be able to learn job quests inside there. You weren't going to be able to learn job abilities inside there. What we've just learned from this, though, is that if you are a level 30 paladin and you get to level 60 inside Palace of the Dead, while you're in Palace of the Dead, you can access every paladin ability from 1 to 60. That includes the Heaven's Ward actions that you can get. Now, keep in mind, if you go in as a level 30 Gladiator, you will be locked to only Gladiator skills, so that will not account. And also, when you leave Palace of the Dead, you don't get to keep those skills. You'll have to unlock them the old-fashioned way. A lot of rules and stuff here. But it's good to know that if you're a level 30 job, because this means in the free trial, essentially you can play up to level 60 and check out your entire job all the way up to level 60 by using Palace of the Dead. This adds huge value to the game's free trial, on top of adding value to the full game itself. Ether Pool gear. Players will be restricted to the use of an Ether Pool arm and armor when they set foot. In addition to gaining levels, players must enhance these items as they progress through the dungeon. Note that Ether Pool armor will take the appearance of your current gear upon entering the instance. So whatever you're wearing, that's just what it shows your Ether Pool armor as. Strengthening gear. Ether Pool gear can be enhanced by accessing silver coffers. These coffers appear randomly on each floor, and after defeating certain enemies. When enhancing gear, there is a chance of failure that varies depending on the current level of your gear and the floor where the silver coffer is found. Ether Pool gear can be enhanced to a maximum strength of plus 30. In the event the strength of your Ether Pool gear exceeds the maximum by your current level, its attributes will be synced. Ether Pool gear is not subject to durability loss. You don't have to worry about repairing mid-time in there. So you don't have to worry about repairing in here. You're not going to go in and get to the 40th floor and your armor's going to break. That can't happen in here as well. Pomander, players will on occasion obtain pomanders from treasure chests within Palace of the Dead. These items have various uses ranging from displaying the entire map to providing party members with beneficial effects. Up to 3 of each pomander can be held at any time. These items can be found in a shared inventory to be used by all party members. So this inventory right here is not yours individual. It is something all of your party has to pull from. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to turn into a succubus right here, and one of your party members uses that item first, it'll be gone, and you won't be able to do it, and they'll have used it anyway. You can also use normal items like potions and phoenix downs and ethers, but that's on you. Moving forward, they cannot be taken outside of Palace of the Dead. Another important rule. Where that affect the map cannot be overwritten with the same items. Certain pomanders can be used to transform the players into an enemy NPC that lasts for 1 minute and grants their attack a different effect. Recording progress. Boss enemies appear every 10 floors. Upon defeating them, players will be able to record their progress, at which time they may choose to leave the deep dungeon. Please note that progress made in strengthening ether pool arms and armor is saved independently and shared across all save data. So if you get to plus 30 on your arms and your arm and your armor, and you go into a brand new level 1 save file, you'll still have plus 30. So that's what you're probably going to want to do before you do any solo challenges in the Palace of the Dead. And this is what the save file actually looks like in-game itself. So this is where they saved, and floor 11 is where they'll pick up. Entering Palace of the Dead, so keep in mind you can only enter at the South Shroud of Coromil after you've unlocked it. When entering as a party, only the party leader can start the instance. This is very similar to the way raids work. Players may enter with a fixed party of any composition. You just have to select to enter with a fixed party after selecting Enter Palace of the Dead. Party composition, when creating a fixed party, players are free to choose any combination of jobs or classes. Save data, your character's level, arm, and armor strength, inventory, and floor progression will be recorded. Players in a fixed party must have a uniform save data. Moreover, this save data can only be used with the party members and party composition. We mentioned that before. Matched party. Similar to the Duty Finder, players may choose to be randomly matched with other players. Now, I'm assuming there might be some restrictions here regarding the role restriction, but we were told that they didn't want any role restrictions here. Let's see that they want. Okay. So entering as a matched party, you still have to speak to that NPC, and you enter with a matched party. This is equivalent to the Duty Finder, but you still have to do it from Quarry Mill in the South Shroud, from that Wood Whaler. Let's see. All future forays in the Palace of the Dead must be done with the class or job chosen when first registering. Okay, that's an important thing to remember. All future forays into the Palace of the Dead must be done with the class or job chosen when first registering. That is because you're using one of your save slots, so keep that in mind. If you save a job to a save slot, you are locked into that job for that save slot. Party composition, there is no restriction still. You can choose any composition of jobs or classes with a matched party. So again, queue times for DPS should be okay with Palace of the Dead. Save data, same deal. Resuming play. Players will be matched with party members who have the same floor progression. So if you make it up to floor 11 in this matched party, when you go to do matched party again, it will only match you with people who are on floor 11 progress, or floor 11 to 20 progress. So very, very important thing to keep in mind there. And you can also join parties in progress. So that is a possible thing to do here if somebody needs you to fill in for a deep dungeon. Like, oh, we're on the 48th floor and we don't have anybody. Can you come help? Yeah, I have my progress saved there. I can do it. Moving to the lower floors, so you use these. Everybody needs to stand in them in order to move. There are Cairns of Return. These are used to resurrect people. You can also use the item, the Phoenix Down. It can only be used when fully activated. The stone will be inactive when arriving at a new floor. Players must defeat the enemies that appear on the floor before the stone can be fully activated. As the phases progress, the color of the stone's icon on the map will change. The stone itself will glow and it becomes fully activated. And that will revive all dead party members when it's fully activated if you use it. There are traps. There are floor effects. Some floor effects can give you bonuses, or they can give you detriments. As you can see, it grants haste to all the party members. You can also get things that make items unavailable or may prohibit magic or special actions. You can get things like gloom, which will have strengthened enemies on that floor. And these are just some examples. They're probably not all the examples. You can probably get more than haste, and you can probably have things more than items unavailable removed. But keep in mind of those things. And then also, this is what your mini-map will look like, where it basically tells you where there's treasure chests, where there's doors, where there's keys, where there's enemies, and also lets you keep track of where you've been and where you probably are going to go next. So, icons for us to check. Cairn of Passage is inactive, Cairn of Passage is nearing activation, Cairn of Passage is activated. That's a little key-looking symbol. Well, the key symbol, that's to go to the next floor, just to be perfectly clear. The Cairn of Return is the other one, the one that looks like a tree, and that one, again, activates over time. Treasure coffers. Gold coffers yield pomanders. The coffer will remain even if these items already exceed the inventory limit. Silver coffers strengthen your armor and your weapon. However, opening these coffers will have no effect if the players are at their maximum level. Even if the players are not at maximum level, there's possibilities that the strengthening effects will not take hold even after opening the coffer. Weapons, including shields and gear, will be strengthened individually and depending on the player. So not everyone's guaranteed the exact same progress when you open one. And bronze coffers yield normal items like potions or potsherds, which can be exchanged for special items. I'm sure we'll be checking that out very soon. And then if either everyone dies or you decide to leave at the end of the 10th floor, then you're good to go. You can also completely reset all your progress and start from the first floor again, should you desire. And you can disband a fixed party as well if you just want to completely remove a save file. Let's see, let me make sure. But the Pomander information will be reset. Players can convert fixed party save data to matched party save data. That's your individual. That's basically taking your fixed party and then removing it and making it so that your current party save data is matched party save data. Let's see. If any member of a fixed party are unable to enter Deep Dungeon after the deletion of a save data or the usage of the World Transfer Service, they must select disband your fixed party to carry over their saved data. Rewards. Alright, so if you get to floor 10, so there are rewards. There are tombstone rewards, there's guild rewards, depending on which floor you make it to. Farming, doing floor 10, and keep in mind that these rewards are only obtainable if you are level 60 when you enter. You will obtain tombstones of poetics, essos, and lore for the floor 10. Only 10, 20, and 10, and 1,000 gil. Floor 20 doubles that. Floor 30 triples with floor 10 rewards. Floor 40 is the same as floor 30. And floor 50 gives you 50 elegant tombstones of poetics, 100 of esoterics, and 50 of lore. So you can use this to not only obtain some rare weapons that we're going to be talking about later, but you can also use this to obtain some gil, as well as get some esoterics, poetics, and tombstones of lore. Cap for the week, going to be doing it. Now, if you're at least level 50, but you're not yet level 60, you'll only get Poetics and Gil, but you'll get Poetics equal to what you saw here. You just won't be able to get level 60 rewards. On top of that, you'll gain experience points and Gil on top of that, and Armory bonus will be applied to these rewards, so you will get bonus experience if it's a secondary job. Very important detail right there. If your jobber class is under level 50, you will just get experience points and Gil based on your progress. Probably the same amount of Gil you're seeing here. If it's under level 20, what's it called? Oh, and okay, so if you're under level 20 and there is a novice and a mentor in the party, that, in case you didn't know, if there's a novice and a mentor in a party, there's an EXP bonus before level 20. That will apply. So between 17 and 19, pretty much. And this is upon entering, but then when you leave, you get to apply these rewards. So keep that in mind. If you have reached floor 50, a Gelmoran potsherd will be awarded. Now, with Gelmoran potsherds, you can buy a wind-up Sasquatch, you can buy a Hektai, you can buy a disembodied head resonator, that's an Avir minion in case you're wondering, or a grade 5 materia for disciples of war or magic. So, on top of that, don't forget that those bronze chests can also reward Gelmoran potsherds. So this is another means of even obtaining grade 5 materia. New minions, grade 5 materia, and keep in mind that if you have strengthened your Ether Pool weapon and armor to plus 30, in addition to reaching the 50th floor, you can receive an Ether Pool arm from the NPC E Una Kotor, which can be used outside of the instance. It is in... so they said it was going to be just before the strength of an upgraded lore weapon and the current animal weapon, so I'm assuming it's 230 or 235, but you can use these glowing weapons outside if you meet those conditions. So it's another means of getting a level 60 weapon as well. So here they are, 235. There you go, Pajali Blade, Pajali Knuckles, Axe, Spear, Longbow. Okay, we can't see the stats on them right here, but as you can see, item level 235 weapons and armor from getting plus 30 and completing the 50th floor. That is pretty friggin' cool. Also some new items here, as you can see, the Gelmoran potsherd, the Sasquatch Hektais, the Avir minion. Actually, no, this isn't an Avir minion. Disembodied head resonator. I guess Hektai might be the one that looks like the Avir minion that we see in one of the previews. A metal tuning fork that when struck emits a high-pitched tone which can animate inanimate objects possessing voidal properties, including your personal disembodied stone. Is that a mount? Oh, is it? Is it? It might be. It's a resonator. I think a resonator is a term they've given to mounts before. Okay, well, that's an interesting thing. And then you can also make some garden ponds and some large garden ponds. Oh, these are recipes for these. And then this is a new recipe for culinarians that just requires mineral water, Rollen berries, Oh, Final Fantasy XI. Anyway, a new mount has been added. Okay, well, that pretty much just confirmed that it's going to be the Avir one. New minions have been added. That's the Sasquatch, and that's the Hektai. Okay. A new subcategory, ranked PvP, has been added to the battle category in the achievements list, and there's a bunch of new achievements. Holy shit. Complete a feast season ranked #1. Oh, these are the achievements for, like, oh, these are how the items are going to be doled out for this. Oh, that means that people get their rewards tomorrow as well. So that means Nex should be getting that. Chia is going to be getting. Okay, all right, that's interesting. Complete a feast season in the different tiers as well. It kind of sucks though, because I'm assuming that if you finish in diamond tier, you don't get the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze achievement, which is kind of annoying. In my opinion, if you get the diamond tier one, while that's clearly the best one, you want all 5 of these. And if you get season rank #1, you should get all 3 of these as well. Just my opinion. Complete a feast season ranked, and then there's also ranked parties right here as well. Same deal. Into deep, those are completing floors. There's a different achievement for every different ether pool weapon as well, and there's also new music. I'm assuming that's the deep dungeon music. There's also a few issues that have been addressed. Okay. Oh, well, okay, there's a lot of them, so we probably shouldn't go through all these, but from what I can see, Deep Dungeon is delivering on the reward side of it. We just have to see if it's fun itself. I will be playing this tomorrow, probably around 7 a.m. Pacific time, because I want to play I Am Setsuna tomorrow as well, but it looks like we have plenty of progress to make, plenty of things to get used to, and I will be doing a video about progress in Palace of the Dead sometime in the near future. I am looking forward to jumping into this, grabbing some tomestones to help cap for the week, because I do plan on beating the whole thing in one go. On top of that, working on some weapons for some alternate jobs, getting some extra gil, even leveling some alternate jobs. I want to see how much that experience point amount is. If I'm going to go in as a level 50 white mage, I'm going to do all 50 floors, and we are going to see what kind of rewards we walk out with. I am super excited to see what that's going to be like, and I'm going to make sure to save every 10 floors because I do not want that to take longer than it needs to, so I can get to I Am Setsuna. But let me know what your thoughts are on Deep Dungeon and what you're seeing right here. Oh god, Rafflesia. And what you're seeing from it. Also, let me know about the other little things, the things that they did for PvP balancing, the addition of the first 3 Heavensward mounts and giving them 99 totems, but a bitch ain't one, hit me. The new poses, as well as what you think the story is going to be like for Palace of the Dead. I will let you know what my thoughts are after the patch. Don't forget, we have State of the Realm Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 p.m. Pacific. We will be joined by Michael Magic Man Byrne. You guys may remember him from FFXIV Nation. We will be catching up with him, seeing what he's been up to, as well as talking about patch 3.35, the notes, and Palace of the Dead. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. I will see you tomorrow bright and early. And until then, take care.